Hello fellow pilots, I'm Mike Japan and this is next episode of Advanced Fighter Pilot Training. Today we will talk about spotting system in our game. As far as I was looking, I couldn't find any information about it, so it's quite unique video, first on a subject I would say, and as you know, the game doesn't provide us with all the information about mechanics, so I spent good few hours with my friend on training room to test everything related to the spotting system. So spotting system is important, can give advantage in certain situations and on certain planes, which are not such a good fighters, like for example some multi-role fighters, which can stay undetected, and thanks to that they can go behind enemy lines, for example, and take over some sectors. Ground attacker bombers can use that as well. And so very few players use multi-role fighters in this way to stay undetected. They are multi-role fighters which are not so good in dogfight, and in face of good light fighters they have to stay away from them because they have no way to fight against them. And here is knowledge which can help you to become more effective in those kind of planes. There is more situation where spotting system knowledge is important, like for example square line, when you want to stay undetected in a situation where you're winning the game but you're losing too many planes and there's a risk of losing all the planes. So this knowledge is very useful, and it's fascinating as well to know everything about your game. So let's get into it. Spotting system is based on the tier which you are playing on. So it's all about the tier. There is no difference between the type of the plane. That means if you play on tier 8, enemy bomber will spot the same as any enemy light fighter, multi-role fighter or ground attacker and so on. There is no difference between the type of the planes. Another thing, there is no difference in altitude. So literally your plane spot all around him in the same distance. Now the pilot level of training doesn't impact the spotting range as well. So if you have 90% of training, not 100% pilot, that's still gonna spot in the same way. Obviously in a game we have pilot skills which can increase the view range or even decrease the camouflage in the same time, like for example the German special lady pilot. And of course we have some equipment which can reduce the spotting range as well, and the painting, you can put the camouflage, so altogether is up to 50%. You can almost get 50% of your spotting range if you build the plane this way. And nonetheless we have those tests only in clear planes without any special skills of camouflage. I make those tests on the training rooms with my friend, and no equipment or any paint, of course, just to give you the clear detection range, basic kind of. Now before I give you detection range of each tier, we need to discuss three important things. Now first is spotting lag. So when you detect the plane, it's take a second to actually show you the marker. You may think 1 second is not much, but on tier 10, for example, planes flying towards each other with the speed almost 1000 km per hour, that's make quite a difference. So basically every time you're going to see the range of the enemy when you spot him, not most likely, always going to be different than the range I'm going to provide to you. If you want to see the range I provide to you, you would have to go with your friend to the training room and fly one behind another one, slowly approaching to each other, and then you will see the real value. But in a game you won't be able to see always this exact number, because this 1 second lag, it's always going to take a couple hundred meters of your spotting range. You can see that also when the enemy is flying from behind some mountains, stuff like this, or you're expecting to see him right away, but he's not going to show up. He's going to have this lag, and you're not going to see straight away the enemy plane which is coming up from any obstacle. It's take a 1 second to actually for you to see the marker and plane. Next thing is vision time for the planes out of the spotting range, which is 3 seconds. So it's very simple. Every time the enemy plane will fly out from your spotting range, you and enemy will see each other for extra 3 seconds. So if on tier 10 spotting range is 2500 meters, then the enemy flies, when he's flying really fast away from you, you will see enemy in a greater distance than your spotting range, because you can see him for extra 3 seconds, even since that counts since he breached the 2500 meters. So from that distance, wherever he's gonna fly, he's gonna be visible for 3 seconds. Same with obstacles like mountains and other stuff. Wherever enemy plane will go, like behind some mountains, he's still gonna be visible for 3 seconds. So if you go hide behind the mountains, enemy can see you as well for 3 seconds. So keep that in mind. Even if he is still in your spotting range, but he's behind the obstacles, he's gonna disappear after 3 seconds. And the last thing is marker display differences. It's insignificant, but I want you to know that basically you can see enemy plane in distance, for example, 2550 meters, and in the same time your friend will see you in a distance 2500 meters. You both will disappear from each other in the same moment, but on the screen you will have different number than your friend. I think it's probably related to internet connection or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it's still insignificant. I just want you to let you know that there is such a thing. It could be like a server delay processing information. Same with the plane which have very big cannons, and when you take out enemy plane with one shot, you probably notice that it's take a moment to actually show the destruction of the plane. Something like a server lag. Anyway, we have that sorted, so let's go to my diagram. Okay, so on the left we have plane to plane spot. So on tier 1, 2 and 3 we have the same distance, which is 1650 meters. Tier 4 is 1700 meters. Tier 5 is 1800 meters. Tier 6 is 2100 meters. Tier 7 is 2200 meters. Tier 8 is 2400 meters, and tier 9 and 10 have the same value, and it's 2500 meters. Well, if someone's thinking, hold on a second, I seen in the battle planes from much greater distance, what's going on? So this is right, and we're going now to the next type of spotting, and this is simply someone else is spotting for you. So in a game you can have your allies aircraft to spot enemy plane for you. You can have your own sector spot the enemy plane, and you can have your bomber flight formation spot the enemy planes. So this is how it works. It's basically straight away you can see enemy on a minimap. Doesn't matter the distance. He can be in a corner of the map, the farthest point, but you will be able to see it on a minimap. But that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to see the marker of the plane. So that's the distances where you can see the marker of the plane. If he's over the sector of yours, or is in a range of your ally plane spotting range, or in a range of spotting the bomber formation. So for tier 1 is 2000 meters, for tier 2 is 2300 meters, tier 3 is 2600 meters, tier 4 is 3000 meters, tier 5 is 3300 meters, tier 6 is 3650 meters, tier 7 is 4000 meters, tier 8 is 4300 meters, tier 9 is 4650 meters, and tier 10 is 5000 meters. So all it's need is some other plane from your team is in spotting range of the enemy plane, and that's the range that you are going to see the marker of the enemy plane. The funny thing is that you can actually see physically plane which are beyond that range without the marker. In a game, you probably notice that sometimes over the sector you can see small dot over it, it's a bomber, which is in a greater distance. So if you zoom in, you can actually see the bomber. As you can see here on this example, I can see the plane, but I cannot see the marker. Eventually I will see the marker if I get close enough. So what you have to remember here is that if you go to an enemy sector, and you fly into the enemy sector, you want to take over, for example, yes? So everyone in the enemy team can see you after pressing tab on a minimap, they can see you straight away. And that's the pretty much huge distance that they can actually physically see you, can recognize what kind of plane is it, easy, and so on. So you have to be aware of that. The same with the bomber flight formation. So if you're going to attack the bomber flight formation of the enemy, You have to be aware that, like on tier 10, literally the enemy planes can see you physically, your marker, from 5,000 meters. So it's not that you are invisible or something like that. You can sneak behind. That's okay. You can use your camouflage. You can to get to the sector, but in the moment you're going to the enemy sector, you're gonna be visible. So just keep that in mind. It's quite a lot of this, but we are not over yet. Well, in a game, we have clouds as well. Almost on every map, I guess, and they are just not like visual effect only. They reduce the detection range. So, as you probably know, we have 3 different era in a game. Planes between tier 1 and tier 4 are era 1, tier 5 to tier 7 is era 2, and tier 8 to tier 10 is era 3. So clouds are divided between those. So it's quite simple. On era 1, clouds give you minus 100 meters from your spotting range, if you're of course behind them. And era 2 is 200 meters, and era 3 is 300 meters detection range reduce. It's not huge numbers, but it's still something. So clouds could be useful, for example, for some ground attackers when they're flying low below the clouds. So that can give you extra camouflage if you want to stay undetected when you go to enemy sectors. That could be useful. Okay guys, I think that's it for the video. I hope you guys like it and find it useful in battles. If you like it, please leave a like. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe for future content. And one more big thank you for my friend Crusader, who helped me with this test in training rooms. And in the meantime, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm working on this funny toxic top 5 video. So if you have any crazy shit, toxic behavior in a game, please send me a replay and description. I think I already have the first place, but still, if you have something, send me on my email. Alright guys, see you in the next one. Take care.